Well, next week we enter the month of October and officially kick off what many folks refer to as spooky season. The decorations go up, people are making costumes, it's almost a ritual for some. But wait, we aren't quite there yet. We've got a few more days before we change the calendar.
But for those who like the scary stories, for now anyway, we can surely sprinkle in a few frights while we hear a little tale from days past. With us is Andy Nunez. He's the author and amateur historian that you've seen before. We're glad to have him back. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Good to see you.
here.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so I understand this has to do with a pirate too?
Yeah, it's pirates and ghosts. How can you go
can't
wrong?
get any better than
Oh,
that.
okay.
Right, yeah. It starts with a pirate.
Okay,
Okay. His name was Charles Wilson.
okay.
He was notorious up and down the coast. And in 1750, he buried his treasure here on the eastern shore, but he was captured by the British. And he went to jail in London, and while he was there, he wrote a letter to his brother, who lived in Georgia, and told him the exact location of where he buried the treasure, right off of Assateague Island. He said it was the third inlet north of Chincoteague and the third creek after that. On this woody knoll, there was 10 chests of treasure. Silver, jewels, gold, all of that.
I'm going to go buy a shovel.
Now, the twist is his brother never got the letter. The British authorities intercepted it. And it stayed in the British naval records until 1948, when they reorganized after World War II. The letter came out. And ever since then, people have been trying to figure out where this treasure was, including myself.
Oh, so you're saying it's still out there?
It's never
Been found.
been
That you know of.
that we know of for sure.
Right.
Now, my club, we got a map from a fellow in California who wanted 10% of it for pointing it out to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
I talked to the folks at Assateague Island, the Rangers. They said, we think it's a hoax. And the problem is, being a barrier island, it changes.
It changes.
So to this day, maybe it's still there. $10 million was the estimate back in the 1980s. So it's, with inflation, it's worth even more today.
Wow.
Now, there's also, though, there's a ghost story attached to it. His great-great-great-grandfather, who was an eeler, he caught eels.
Right, yeah.
One day, one night, they saw this full-rigged sailing ship in the pitch blackness of night, and the masts were all lit with witch fire, discharges. And a longboat came out from that ship up this stream, and when it came back, it was a lot lighter. So what was he seeing? Now the story is, anybody that goes up that stream, these balls of fire will suddenly come out of nowhere and shoot over their heads, and they have to turn around. Was that the ghost of Wilson and his pirates putting the treasure away and then coming back?
So whatever became of Charles Wilson?
Well, he was hung.
Well, that would pretty much end that story,
It was
wouldn't
a
it?
pirate. They tend to hang him. There is a rumor, though, that over the action of the waves over the centuries broke open the boxes, and some of the treasure may have filtered out off the coast, because if you go to Discovery Sea Shipwreck Museum, there's a gold idol that was found off the coast somewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shipwreck, because a shipwreck would be salvage, and we're talking laws and
Right.
maritime issues and all that. So this was just something that washed up that could have been part of that treasure. And if you go up to Fenwick to the museum, it's in one of the cases. Believe it or not.
Maybe. No, that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
story. Right, exactly.
Why do you enjoy so much researching this stuff?
Because if I don't find these stories and put them in a book,
Yeah.
they get lost over
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one fellow I talked to for this story, he was born in 1910. He's dead now.
Yeah.
But he told me that there were indeed 3 cedar trees up on this hill, just like Wilson described in the letter, but that they had been cut down. They were only stumps. And that was back in the day. So, yeah. So again, stuff gets lost.
Yeah.
It's lost.
I like writing stories about stuff like this anyway. Adventure, it's exciting.
Right.
And keeping it from getting wiped away by time is one of my objectives.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. I
And
love
if
it.
you would like
And I
to
love
find
it.
any of Andy's books, they're in stores up and down Delmarva.
Yes, they are.
Thank you so much for
Sure.
coming
My
in.
pleasure.
Yeah, interesting story.